Okay, so let's dive into this Lonova Toronto situation. It's a clothing website,
Yeah.
and maybe you've seen it popping up everywhere.
Oh, yeah. Those ads are hard to miss. Massive clearance sale, right? Like up to 80% off.
Exactly. And, deals that big immediately make you ask, is this actually legit, or is it just some kind of scam?
A very polished one, if it is.
Right. And what really grabs you is the story they're pushing.
Yeah.
This whole emotional thing about a husband and wife. They have to close their boutique.
Yeah, liquidating everything. And they say they want to put a piece of themselves into every garment. It's quite the narrative.
It really tugs at the heartstrings.
Yeah.
Makes you want to help, makes you feel the urgency. But, well, does that story actually check out?
And that's our job today, right?
Yeah.
To look past that really compelling, kind of sad story, we need to pull together the actual data points from our sources.
Get to the facts.
Exactly. And give you a quick verdict on whether you can trust this site, before you even think about hitting checkout.
So, where do we start? What's the first big piece of data?
Well, honestly, we don't need to dig too deep because the first finding is pretty catastrophic. If you look at the algorithmic checks like Scam Advisor,
Okay, yeah.
their trust score for Lonova Toronto, it's a 1. 1 out of 100.
Hold on. A 1 out of 100? That's basically 0. How does a site even get a score that low?
It's incredibly low. Scam Advisor isn't just looking at, customer reviews. It's checking things behind the scenes.
Like what?
Things like hidden ownership. Is the registration anonymous? Where are the servers located? Are they hidden? Is the whole setup built to look legit but disappear quickly?
Ah, so it's about the structure of the site.
Precisely. A score of 1 suggests it might be set up specifically to, mask who's running it and potentially operate short-term. It's flagged as potentially malicious.
Wow, okay. Malicious is a strong word. So it's not just about bad deals, it's about potential risk.
That's what the infrastructure suggests. And then you look at what actual people are saying.
Like a real-world experience.
Right.
What about sites like Trustpilot?
Yeah, we looked there. The rating is, it's awful. It averages out to about 1.7 stars.
1.7. Okay, so that aligns with the terrible trust score. What are people complaining about specifically?
It seems to be 2 major things consistently. Either people paid and just never got their orders, like nothing arrived.
Wrong.
Or if something did arrive, the quality was apparently terrible, completely unusable, not what was advertised at all.
So non-delivery or junk products sounds pretty bad.
It does. And then this brings us right back to that story they tell, the whole closing boutique narrative.
Yeah, the sad story about the long-running shop.
Well, here's the kicker. If you actually check the website's registration details, the domain name, it's less than a year old.
Less than a year. But their whole pitch is about closing down a long-established boutique after years.
Exactly. The math just doesn't add up. How can you be liquidating a decades-old business through a website that was created, just a few months ago?
That completely blows their story out of the water.
It really undermines the entire emotional appeal. That whole narrative designed to create sympathy and urgency, it seems, fabricated, based on that one simple check.
And that's something anyone can check, right? The website age.
Yeah, looking up WHOIS data for a domain is usually pretty straightforward. It's a quick way to spot inconsistencies like this.
Okay, so let's put it all together for everyone listening. We've got a trust score of 1 out of 100.
Which is abysmal.
Tons of customer complaints about either getting nothing or getting junk.
Real people losing money.
And the core story about the closing boutique is directly contradicted by the fact the website is brand new.
Correct.
So the verdict seems pretty clear here. Our sources strongly suggest this site is just way too risky.
Absolutely. That sad story looks like it's just a tactic trying to get you to let your guard down.
Definitely don't give them your money or, perhaps more importantly, your credit card details.
Please don't.
So this deep dive really shows how a powerful story, that emotional hook, can be used.
Yeah, to sort of mask the really bad data hiding underneath.
Like that incredibly low trust score. The story distracts you from the numbers.
It does, and that leads to kind of a final thought for you listening at home.
Yeah.
Think about it. When you see an amazing deal, like 80% off, how tempting is it to just jump on it? Especially if there's a story attached that makes you feel something.
Right. You get caught up in the emotion, the potential bargain.
Exactly. And how often might we, overlook the boring stuff like checking a website's age or looking for a trust score because we're already invested in the story.
That's a really good point. What does this Lonova case tell us about maybe training ourselves to look past the narrative first?
Yeah, maybe training ourselves to check those verifiable, objective bits of data before we let the story pull us in, especially with so much information and misinformation online, something to think about.